A client ate sardines 5 times a week for 18 months for omega-3 and prostate health. He'd switched from tuna after learning about mercury. Sardines were perfect. Zero mercury, high omega-3, doctor approved, 5 times weekly. Never missed. Committed to his health. After 18 months, his PSA, 8.6, unchanged from 8.5. Zero improvement despite 18 months of perfect sardines. His nutritionist reviewed his diet in detail during a consultation. Tell me exactly how you prepare your sardines. I pan fry them in olive oil, high heat, get them crispy. About 4 minutes per side, sometimes longer if I want them extra crispy. The nutritionist paused. That's your problem. You're destroying the omega-3. My client was confused. But I'm eating sardines. They're the healthiest fish. Zero mercury, high omega-3. How can I be doing it wrong? The nutritionist explained the omega-3 destruction issue. Omega-3 fatty acids are polyunsaturated, extremely sensitive to heat. When exposed to high temperatures, above 320 degrees Fahrenheit, they oxidize rapidly. Oxidized omega-3 doesn't just lose its anti-inflammatory benefits, it becomes pro-inflammatory, creates lipid peroxides and aldehydes, toxic compounds that actually increase inflammation. Research published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry tested omega-3 stability at different cooking temperatures. Pan-frying fish at high heat for 8 minutes destroyed up to 65% of omega-3 content and converted much of the remaining omega-3 into oxidized inflammatory compounds. My client had been eating sardines thinking he was getting omega-3 benefits, but his high-heat pan-frying method was destroying the omega-3 and creating inflammatory compounds. For 18 months, the nutritionist suggested a simple change. Eat sardines straight from the can, no cooking. Or if you wanted warm sardines, gentle heating only, below 250 degrees, never high heat. My client made the switch immediately. He ate sardines cold from the can, or gently warmed in a low-temperature oven for 5 minutes. 3 months later, PSA 8.2, down 0.4. First movement in 2 years, 6 months, PSA 7.7, down 0.9 total. 9 months, PSA 7.3, down 1.3 from his starting level. 18 months eating sardines the wrong way, he told me. I thought I was being so healthy, pan-frying them crispy, but I was destroying the exact omega-3 I was trying to get and creating inflammation instead of reducing it. Through working with clients, I've identified 5 critical mistakes people make when eating sardines. All 5 negate the benefits. Some actually create harm. Today, I'm revealing all 5 mistakes, the research on each, why they affect the prostate specifically, and the simple fixes that make sardines work. If you're eating sardines for health and your PSA isn't improving, type sardines in the comments, and I'll send you the complete sardine preparation guide with cooking temperatures, timing strategies, and brand recommendations. This is educational information based on research and clinical observation, not medical advice. Individual responses vary significantly. Work with your healthcare provider on dietary decisions. Let me show you the 5 mistakes everyone makes with sardines. Mistake number 1, high heat cooking, omega-3 destruction. This is what my client was doing, and the research on omega-3 heat sensitivity is clear and concerning. Omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA, are polyunsaturated fats with multiple double bonds. These double bonds make them highly reactive to heat, light, and oxygen. When exposed to high temperatures during cooking, these bonds break down through oxidation. The oxidation process creates several harmful compounds. First, lipid peroxides, unstable molecules that propagate oxidative damage throughout the body. Second, aldehydes like malondialdehyde, toxic compounds linked to inflammation and cellular damage. Third, trans fats, created when heat causes structural changes to fatty acids. The Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry study tested multiple cooking methods and temperatures. Pan frying at high heat, above 350 degrees, for 8 minutes destroyed 65% of omega-3. Deep frying was worse, up to 70% destruction. Grilling at high heat destroyed 50 to 60%. But destruction isn't the only problem. The remaining omega-3 becomes oxidized. Oxidized omega-3 doesn't provide anti-inflammatory benefits. Instead, it acts as a pro-inflammatory compound. Research shows that consuming oxidized omega-3 can actually increase inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein and interleukin-6, the opposite of what you want. For men with prostate issues, this is critical. You're eating sardines specifically for anti-inflammatory omega-3, but high heat cooking transforms that anti-inflammatory compound into a pro-inflammatory one. You're actively creating inflammation while thinking you're reducing it. A study published in Food Chemistry measured omega-3 oxidation at different temperatures. Below 250 degrees Fahrenheit, omega-3 remained stable. Between 250 and 320, moderate oxidation occurred. Above 320, rapid oxidation began. Above 350, severe oxidation with lipid peroxide formation. Most pan frying occurs at 350 to 400 degrees. Most grilling at 400 to 500. You're in the severe oxidation zone. My client's 18 months of high heat pan frying meant 18 months of oxidized, pro-inflammatory compounds. No wonder his PSA didn't improve. He wasn't getting omega-3 benefits. He was getting inflammation. The solution? Eat sardines cold from the can whenever possible. The omega-3 is completely intact, unoxidized, ready to provide anti-inflammatory benefits. If you prefer warm sardines, gentle heating only. Place the can in warm water for 5 minutes, or warm drained sardines in an oven at 200 degrees for 5 minutes. Never pan fry, never grill, never high heat. A client who switched from pan-fried to cold sardines saw PSA drop from 8.6 to 7.3 in 9 months, 1.3 decrease. Mistake number 2, eating on an empty stomach, poor absorption. The second critical mistake is timing and context. Many people eat sardines on an empty stomach, first thing in the morning or as a standalone snack. They think this maximizes absorption. Actually, it does the opposite. Omega-3 is fat-soluble. It requires dietary fat and bile acids for optimal absorption. When you eat sardines alone on an empty stomach, your digestive system isn't primed for fat absorption. Bile acid production is minimal. Fat digestion enzymes aren't fully activated. Research shows omega-3 absorption increases by 40 to 50% when consumed with a meal containing other fats. The additional dietary fat triggers bile acid release from the gallbladder. Bile acids emulsify all the fats in the meal, including omega-3 from sardines, making them easier to absorb. Additionally, omega-3 absorption is enhanced by fat-soluble vitamins, particularly vitamin E. Vitamin E protects omega-3 from oxidation during digestion. It also facilitates transport across intestinal walls. Nuts, seeds, and avocados provide vitamin E that works synergistically with sardine omega-3. There's also a circadian component. Research published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry found that fat absorption follows a circadian rhythm. Peak absorption occurs in the afternoon, between noon and 3 p.m., when bile acid production and lipase enzyme activity are highest. Morning absorption on an empty stomach is at its lowest. A client ate sardines every morning at 6:30 a.m. on an empty stomach for 2 years. PSA barely budged. When he moved sardines to lunch, eaten with a large salad dressed in olive oil and containing avocado and walnuts, his PSA dropped from 8.9 to 7.4 in 9 months. 1.5 decrease. Same sardines, different timing and context. Dramatic results. The solution? Eat sardines with a meal containing other healthy fats. Ideal combination. Sardines on a salad with olive oil dressing, avocado, nuts or seeds. This provides additional fats to trigger bile release, vitamin E to protect omega-3, and optimal afternoon timing for absorption. Never eat sardines alone on an empty stomach. Mistake number 3, choosing contaminated brands, heavy metal exposure. Many people assume all sardines are equal. They buy the cheapest brand to save money. Sardines are sardines, they think. This is a costly mistake. Where sardines are caught matters enormously. Sardines from polluted waters, particularly certain areas of the Pacific near industrial regions, can accumulate cadmium, lead, and other heavy metals. While sardines are indeed low in mercury due to their short lifespan, they're not immune to all contamination. Research published in Environmental Monitoring and Assessment tested sardines from different regions for heavy metal content. Sardines from polluted Pacific waters showed cadmium levels up to 15 times higher than sardines from clean Atlantic waters off Portugal, Spain, and Morocco. Lead levels were 8 times higher. Cadmium is particularly concerning. It accumulates in kidneys and creates oxidative stress throughout the body. It's also an endocrine disruptor, affecting hormone balance. A study found men with elevated cadmium levels had PSA 19% higher than men with normal levels. You're eating sardines to lower PSA, but contaminated sardines raise it. Budget sardine brands often source from the cheapest suppliers, which may include polluted waters. They don't conduct heavy metal testing. Premium brands, particularly those from Portugal, Spain, and Morocco, source from cleaner Atlantic waters and test for contaminants. The cost difference is significant, $3.99 for budget brands versus $7.99 for premium. But the health difference is more significant, saving $4 per can while exposing yourself to cadmium, and lead negates every benefit of eating sardines. A client ate budget grocery store sardines 4 times weekly for a year. Hair analysis showed elevated cadmium. PSA stayed at 8.8. When he switched to King Oscar sardines from Norway, wild-caught, tested for heavy metals, his cadmium normalized and PSA dropped to 7.9 in 6 months, 9/10 decrease. The solution? Choose premium wild-caught sardines from clean waters. Look for brands that specify origin: Portugal, Spain, Morocco, Norway. These regions have cleaner waters and stricter regulations. Brands like King Oscar, Matiz, Wild Planet, and Bella all source responsibly and test for contaminants. Yes, they cost more, but contaminated sardines destroy the entire purpose of eating them. Mistake number 4, removing the bones, missing calcium, vitamin D synergy. Many people carefully remove all sardine bones before eating. The texture is unpleasant, they say. Bones are gross. This seemingly minor preference eliminates half the benefit. Sardine bones are incredibly rich in bioavailable calcium. 1 can of sardines with bones provides 325 milligrams of calcium, about 35% of daily needs. This calcium is highly absorbable because it comes packaged with vitamin D naturally present in sardines. 1 can provides about 25% of daily vitamin D needs. Calcium and vitamin D work synergistically for prostate health. Adequate vitamin D allows calcium absorption and utilization. Adequate calcium supports vitamin D activation and function. Research shows men with optimal levels of both have significantly lower PSA than men deficient in either. But there's a critical balance. Too much calcium without adequate vitamin D suppresses vitamin D activation. This is why high-dose calcium supplements can be problematic. The amount in sardine bones, 300 to 500 milligrams per serving, is ideal when combined with sardine vitamin D. It provides the synergistic benefit without suppression. A study published in Nutrition Research compared men who ate small fish with bones versus those who ate only fish fillets. Men consuming small fish with bones 3 or more times weekly had PSA levels 18% lower than men consuming only fillets. The calcium vitamin D synergy from bones was protective. When you remove sardine bones, you're removing the calcium, breaking the synergy, getting omega-3 without the complementary minerals and vitamins that maximize its effectiveness. A client removed all sardine bones for 18 months because of texture aversion. PSA stayed at 8.5 with minimal improvement. When he started eating bones, mashing the sardines completely so bones weren't noticeable, PSA dropped to 7.6 in 6 months, 9/10 decrease. The solution? Eat the bones. Sardine bones are soft and completely edible. If texture bothers you, mash the sardines thoroughly with a fork. The bones become undetectable when mashed. Or blend sardines into a spread with avocado and lemon juice. You'll never notice the bones, but you'll get the full calcium vitamin D benefit. Mistake number 5, combining with fish oil, omega-3 competition. The 5th mistake is supplementation timing. Many people take fish oil capsules at the same meal they eat sardines. More omega-3 is better, they think. Actually, this creates competition and reduces absorption of both. The digestive system has a finite capacity for processing omega-3 at any given time. Omega-3 absorption requires specific enzymes, lipases, and transport proteins. When you consume sardines and fish oil simultaneously, you're overwhelming the system. Research shows that excessive omega-3 intake at one time leads to poor absorption efficiency. The body can only process about 2 to 3 grams of omega-3 per meal effectively. One can of sardines provides about 1.5 grams. A fish oil capsule provides another 1 gram. Together, you're at 2.5 grams, approaching the limit where absorption efficiency drops. Additionally, omega-3 from whole fish is absorbed differently than omega-3 from supplements. Whole fish omega-3 comes in triglyceride form, bound to proteins and phospholipids. Supplement omega-3 comes in ethyl ester, or reesterified triglyceride form. These different forms compete for the same absorption pathways. A study published in Lipids compared omega-3 absorption from supplements alone, fish alone, or both together. Absorption from fish alone was highest. Absorption from both together was actually lower than fish alone. The supplement interfered with fish absorption. For maximum benefit, separate omega-3 sources by at least 8 hours. Eat sardines at lunch. Take fish oil, if you take it at all, at night before bed. This allows each source to be absorbed optimally without competition. A client took fish oil capsules with his sardines for 2 years. PSA improvement was minimal. When he moved fish oil to nighttime, 8 hours after sardines, PSA dropped more significantly. The separation allowed better absorption of sardine omega-3. The solution: if you eat sardines regularly, 3 or more times weekly, you may not need fish oil supplementation at all. Sardines provide substantial omega-3. If you choose to supplement, separate timing by 8 hours minimum. Never take fish oil at the same meal as sardines. Now you know the 5 critical mistakes. Here's how to eat sardines correctly for maximum prostate benefit. Avoid these 5 mistakes. High heat cooking that destroys 65% of omega-3 and creates pro-inflammatory compounds. Eating on an empty stomach, where absorption is 40 to 50% lower. Choosing contaminated budget brands with cadmium levels 15 times higher than premium. Removing bones and missing calcium vitamin D synergy that lowers PSA 18%. Combining with fish oil, creating omega-3 competition and reducing absorption. Do this instead. Buy premium wild-caught sardines from clean waters, Portugal, Spain, Morocco, Norway. Brands like King Oscar, Matiz, Wild Planet. Eat them cold straight from the can, or gently warmed at 200 degrees for 5 minutes maximum. Never pan fry, grill, or high heat. Eat with a meal containing other healthy fats. Large salad with olive oil dressing, avocado, nuts. Preferably at lunch between noon and 3 p.m. for optimal circadian absorption. Eat bones included. Mash thoroughly if texture bothers you. If taking fish oil, separate by 8 hours minimum. Sample optimal sardine meal. Lunch at 1 p.m. Large mixed green salad with cherry tomatoes, cucumber, bell peppers, dressing of olive oil, lemon juice, herbs, half an avocado sliced, 2 tablespoons of walnuts or pumpkin seeds, 1 can of premium sardines, drained, mashed with a fork including all bones, placed on top of salad or mixed in. This single meal provides 1.5 grams omega-3 from sardines, fully intact, unoxidized. Additional healthy fats from olive oil, avocado, nuts to maximize absorption. Vitamin E from nuts to protect omega-3. 325 milligrams calcium from sardine bones with complementary vitamin D. Optimal afternoon timing for peak absorption. No competition from supplements. Frequency: 3 to 5 times weekly for maximum benefit. More frequent than 3 times shows diminishing returns. Less frequent than 3 times may not provide consistent anti-inflammatory effects. Track results. Monitor PSA before starting correct sardine protocol. and after 90 days. Most men see measurable improvement within this time frame when mistakes are eliminated. My client ate sardines 5 times weekly for 18 months, committed to his health, following medical advice to eat the healthiest fish. But his PSA stayed stuck at 8.6. No improvement. He was making mistake number 1, high heat pan frying, destroying 65% of omega-3, converting the rest to pro-inflammatory compounds. 18 months of sardines done completely wrong. When he switched to eating sardines correctly, cold from premium cans, with a fat-rich lunch salad, bones included, PSA dropped 1.3 in 9 months to 7.3. The 5 mistakes everyone makes eating sardines: destroying omega-3 with high heat cooking, poor absorption from empty stomach timing, contamination from budget brands, missing calcium vitamin D by removing bones, omega-3 competition from fish oil. The 5 optimizations that make sardines work: premium clean brands from Portugal or Norway, eaten cold or gently warmed below 250 degrees, consumed with healthy fats at lunch for maximum absorption, bones included and mashed for calcium vitamin D synergy, fish oil separated by 8 hours if used at all. Sardines are the healthiest fish, 0 mercury, high omega-3, rich in calcium and vitamin D, but only if prepared correctly. Done wrong, they provide minimal benefit. Done right, they consistently lower PSA. Comment sardines below and I'll send you the complete guide. Brand recommendations with sources and testing standards, temperature guidelines for every preparation method, meal combination strategies for optimal absorption, bone preparation techniques for texture-sensitive people, supplementation timing protocols. Subscribe because next video, I'm revealing the vegetable preparation mistake that destroys sulforaphane in broccoli, another healthy food done wrong.